Good afternoon, viewers. Today we are with one of Luxembourg's most prolific artists. He's a man of varied experience. He has seen the world, and he's a spectacular artist. Good afternoon, Mr. Unger.
Good afternoon, David.
Kindly speak to us about who you are.
That is a simple question, but it's perhaps a little bit difficult to ask. Well, I'm a Luxembourger citizen, and I would say that I have been, I'm a man of adventure. What is adventure? Adventure is Latin advenire, what comes to you. What has been coming to me? To me, life has been coming to me, and life charged with a lot of adventure. I'm 90 now. I would say I have spent my life, a lot of it, in Africa. I went to Africa because my grandfather gave me the idea. He had been in Africa. I went to the Congo in the 1950s, the Congo Belge. I have been living in the tribes. Fantastic. I had a good relation with the people. And I have returned many times, not to Congo because that was difficult, because Congo was also always in war. I went to Senegal at least 10 times. I went to Côte d'Ivoire 2 times. Well, and this is, Africa has marked my life. I like the Africans. I had some friends. But now, with age, I have lost a lot of them. Now I'm sitting here in Luxembourg. I have my souvenirs. In my souvenirs, I go a lot back. But it's not only going back. I told you, adventure, advenire, it comes to you. You came to me. You are an African. And this is a beautiful adventure again. And I thank God that that happens. Thank you, David, for coming to see me here in my apartment. Thank you for you to be an African.
Thank you very much also. When you travel, do you see the world from the perspective of an artist? Do you go with the heart of an artist?
Well, to a certain extent, yes. When I travel around, I'm going around as a human being, not try to find immediately the art. I want to meet the people as they are. Because I think if I would start as an artist, I would not catch the people as I would like to catch them.
How do you like to catch the people?
Direct. To catch people direct, that's not easy. You have to build up a certain condition to find the people, to catch them directly. This is something which is magic. You come to the people and you have to feel them, and they have to feel you.
You were 24 years old when you first went to Africa. You were very young.
Yeah, when I went to Africa, I was 24, very young, unexperienced. Although I was at the colonial school, as they called it, we got a certain formation, just a little bit, but it was just varnished. I think it was just varnished. But nevertheless, I was prepared because I have read a lot of things. And when I went to Brussels, I spent a lot of time at the museum, a lot of time. And I think I learned a lot over there in that museum. When I was in Brussels, almost every Sunday I went to the museum to catch the soul of Africa. And I think that museum is a fantastic museum, the Museum of African Art.
Do you see any communication between primitive African art and the arts you were taught in school?
Of course there's a communication. There's a communication of every art with the artist. Well, you have seen Picasso who has caught the African art, and he developed that as his own art. And you know, as an artist, well, you get influences, and these influences they work on you.
Sometimes when I look at your art, there's something wild in your art. It's underexpressed, but I feel it.
What is important is the catch of art is to catch the magic, because there is in the communication you have the feeling, you must have the feeling of the magic of the art, and to explain that, the magic, it's magic.
I agree. There is magic in your art. It's setting.
Well, I don't know if there's some magic in my art. I met a very famous art critic, Michel Tapier, and I had the chance to meet him many times for about 12 years. And in his critics, when he was speaking about art, you always find the word magic. If there is no magic in it, then there is no good art. La magie de l'art. Qu'est-ce que c'est que la magie?
And tell us about your stay in Africa. Were you frightened when you arrived in Africa?
Well, when I first came into Africa, I came in, that was in the 50s, the first time, with the boat. We came to Boma and Matadi. We came into the Congo River. It was not only a stream, it was the sea, you see. I saw the Congo already before we came to the land, because the sea was brown. The sea was brown many kilometers before you came to land. So that was already something magic. All of a sudden, you saw that the sea has changed. And when we came into that, and we came to Boma, Matadi, I saw for the first time the palms, the forest, the great forest. And that was something which struck me. It's difficult to explain. If you come, I was a young man, I was a young lad coming from Luxembourg, from a little town. It was not even a town, it was from a village. I had never seen that. I don't know if you can imagine that as a young boy in the 50s, you come and all of a sudden you are confronted with a totally different world, with Africa. It struck me. I have no words to explain it, but it was something totally different from my country, from my village, and I came into a different world. And I have to understand this world. I have to penetrate this world. I was not an explorer. I was a young boy who was going to do a job over there. But that has nothing to do with my job. That was something, it went beyond my spirit.
Can you say something about your technique? I mean, in some of your work.
My art, I have to say, there are two different things. I explained to you that I'm Taoistic. I believe in the yin and I believe in the yang. My art is yin and my art is yang. My art, I work with water in my ink work. I have dip paintings. I work in the water, so I'm totally in the water. and I work with fire on copper foil. So you have the yin, the water, and you have the yang, you have the fire. And this is something which is in myself, the water and the fire. And I try to express me in these two elements. I feel very at ease. I think I feel more at ease in the water than in the fire. If you see my ink work, that's my freedom. That's my freedom. The firework, that's a little bit more complicated. Yeah. It's a fight. It's a fight. While the water, I plunge into my art.
How did you come about your technique? Was it one day or it has evolved?
How can you find something like that? It comes to you.
You have a lot of followers, people who admire your work, your collectors, people who buy your work, people who collect your art.
Well, that is something else. I met a lot of people, interesting people, very interesting people, just through my art. Not only that they bought it, of course, if you want to appropriate something, that's different, but people who liked my work. Everybody is not interested in buy or cannot buy it, but that they are interested in it. That is what catches me, the interest in art. Of course, if you have the means, well, I'm not that expensive, but the appropriation of art, of course, it's an interesting thing, because I also have collecting. You have seen I have collecting. I wanted to have it, you see. So I bought African art. I also had a collection of artists with whom I worked, you see. And of course, the point to have the appropriation of it, well, it's important. You have it for yourself. Nevertheless, I'm very interested, of course, to go to the museums, to go to the galleries. I want to see what's going on now. I want also to see what has been going on in the past. So the interest in art is something which elevates you, the spirit. Can, to a certain extent, also change a little bit your mind.
And you have an exhibition coming up soon, a vernissage, an expo.
Yes, my exhibition. Well, yes, I had many exhibitions. I had exhibitions in Luxembourg, in France, in Europe, in Berlin, in great exhibitions in China. I must say, I have been very privileged to meet people of art, critics, who were interested in what I was doing. And there I have to cite the first one, that is Michel Tapier. Michel Tapier is an art critic of international renown. He found a lot of great artists. He has been the first one who presented Pollock in Europe, de Kooning, the great ones. And I had the chance to meet Tapier. And Tapier then sent me to another one. Tapier one day came to Ante Glibotta, that's another one, an art critic, with whom I have been working for 30 days. And Tapier, who has been 3 times here in Luxembourg to see me, he said to Ante Glibotta, he said, "Mr. Glibotta, you have to go to see somebody I have met in Luxembourg. You must go to see him because the best of his work he's hiding. He hides his best work."
Is that true?
Glibotta told me this story. I don't know whether I hide my best one, but in other words, what he was saying, that I had a totally different look on myself, on my work, as other people do. And this is a fact with many people.
You are a prolific painter. There are some work you have done that you don't remember. Like you just showed me one you did in 1983 in Senegal. And you told me you just found it.
Well, of course, I have been very prolific, and I have many, especially in the paperwork, and they are lying there in my depot, and from time to time, and I'm looking around, and I find a file, and I see, oh, I did this. When did I do this? What I'm interested is also in what I do now. You see, what has been done is done. I'm looking into the future to see what I can do. So of course it's changing. Yes. I'm changing. Yes. The world is changing. People are changing. So my work has been changing to a certain extent too.
Do you recognize your work changing, or it just happens unconsciously?
Well, the ideas are changing, and then the environment is changing also. That is how I found the copper foil. The copper foils exist since in the 70s. In the 70s, there's a fabric in Luxembourg which produces this copper foil, and by chance I found that when you use the heat on these copper foils, directed, controlled, you can change and obtain colors. So that was an adventure. You see, it came to me. That was a friend who has been working in that plant. He one day showed me he wanted to make a table, and he was working with fire on it, but he did not control it. But I saw that if you would be able to control it, you could do something with it. But he was not an artist. He didn't care. So he made his table, which was not bad, and I tried to continue. And I developed that idea of getting colors out of the copper. I succeeded to get something, a language out of it. And I think that I succeeded in that. I could put in that my own language. And that is what is the most important for an artist, to get something of yourself, to put yourself into it, to get your language in it, something which nobody else can do it.
What is the future like? What do you look forward to in your art?
Well, as you know, I'm an old man now. So, for example, to make big paintings on copper rolls, I can no more handle it. So what I'm doing now, I'm with little things. So what I try to work a little bit, sometimes on old work, which I want to modify a little bit, but it has become difficult to me. The only thing which I feel free, that is on paper, the ink work, but on copper it becomes mostly impossible for me. I cannot even handle a big roll, you know. You have seen in my atelier, they weigh 20, 30 kilos, that's no more for me.
What are the new things you are thinking of, artistically? If you could experiment further.
Well, as you have seen, the work in my life is adventure, but the other word is also experiment. I like to make experiments, of course, and especially with this copper. I don't know why copper. I ask this question: why do I work, and my life is marked by copper? And I have been thinking about it. You know that I've been in Africa, in Congo, and I have been in Katanga. What is Katanga? Katanga is the copper belt. You can find the copper. And if you look behind that painting over there, I have a big piece of malachite, which I brought over here. I show it to you afterwards. Okay. A big piece like that. Yes. If I give it to an orfèvre, they would like to have it, but I don't give it away because it's magic. That is the only thing which I brought back from Katanga. A piece of malachite. It's beautiful.
Speaking with you, perhaps in the past, people liked adventure in a humanistic way, like you, finding yourself in Congo at 24, a world totally new to you, and it enriched your experience. But today, people in general don't want to go to Africa. And about your work, about fire, your attraction for fire, how it has enhanced your art. Do you see a disconnection between the new generation and your generation?
I don't think so. I think that is a kind of language which is universal. Working with fire, I'm not the only one, not the only artist who has worked with fire. Nicky de Saint-Phal, you know, Yves Klein, they worked with fire. So what does that mean? Of course, each of them in a different way, myself also. It is the fascination mankind has before fire. When I was a child, and even now, when you look at catastrophes, for example, something which I won't forget, I was opening television in the evening at the time when Notre Dame was burning. You see, these are pictures which go into your mind, which you can no more get them out. They burn themselves into your mind. And you have pictures like that. When I see the picture which I have seen on TV of the first atomic explosion, fire in its totality. These are things which burn itself into our civilization. And that is the force of fire. Nothing in our civilization could have been done without fire. The first things were done with fire. The first tools with fire. But unfortunately, man is gone so far that he has created everything to destroy himself, which is what he has discovered.